reading at verse 5. Again, John's writing to this man Gaius. And he says, "Dear friend, you are faithful in what you are doing for the brothers and sisters, even though they are strangers to you." These were men that the Apostle John had sent to the church that Gaius is a part of. You're faithful in what you are doing for these brothers and sisters, even though they're strangers to you. They have told the church about your love. Please send them on their way in a manner that honors God. It was for the sake of the name that they went out, receiving no help from the pagans. We ought therefore to show hospitality to such people so that we may work together for the truth. See, the situation in 3 John is that John had sent some teachers to this church. And these teachers had been rejected by the leader, a leader in the church, a man named Diotrephes. And Diotrephes evidently has considerable influence because not only does he reject these teachers that John sends, but he's kind of able to excommunicate or kick out of the church those who show hospitality to John's messengers. In verses 10 and 11, John says this. He says, "So when I come, I will call attention to what he is doing, spreading malicious nonsense about us." Not satisfied with that, he even refuses to welcome other believers. He also stops those who want to do so, and he puts them out of the church. Dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Everyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does what is evil has not seen God. Again, 3 John verses 10 to 11. But here's the deal. This man, Gaius, he takes these people in and he shows them hospitality. Now in verses 2 to 4, 3 John verses 2 to 4, Gaius is commended for his faithfulness to the truth. Verses 2 to 4 are really a tribute to the wholesomeness of this man's spiritual life. Gaius knows the truth. He is walking in the truth. And then in 5 to 8, he's commended for his partnership in actually promoting or sharing the truth. There are 2 expressions in particular I want you to focus on in 3 John. In verses 6 and 7, take a look at that. Speaking of the men that he sent, John says to Gaius, "You will do well to send them on their way in a manner worthy of God." It was for the sake of the name that they went out. The name that John speaks of is surely Jesus. And he's saying that these men came to you as representatives of Jesus. They're his missionaries. They're his ambassadors. Treat them as you would treat Jesus. And then in 3 John verse 8, John says, "We ought therefore to show hospitality to such men so that we may work together for the truth." Now, on the surface of it, it may seem like an exaggeration to speak of hospitality as helping to promote the truth of Christ. But in this context and this culture, hospitality meant far more than inviting someone over, for an occasional meal. Gaius, this man Gaius that John writes to, he was providing ongoing room and board and possibly other financial assistance to support missionaries so that they could fulfill Jesus' call on their life, so that they could fulfill the vocation to which God had called them. See, in this culture, Hospitality also meant that he was lending his good name in support of their cause. Gaius was thereby in a very, very substantial way helping to promote the truth. And God calls us to do the same. So my question for you this morning in regards to this idea of promoting the truth is, how are you doing that right now? How is it that you're promoting the truth? Are you talking to anybody about Jesus? Are you inviting anybody to come to church and hear about Jesus? Some things to think about. God calls us to be involved in promoting the truth. Now, listen, you may not be called to preach on Sunday morning or teach a Sunday school class or go to another country as a missionary, but we are all called in whatever way we can to promote the truth by being involved in, by supporting the work of the church. Man, you know this as well as I do. We live in a time where truth in general, and Christian truth in particular, is being assaulted on every side. Not long ago, I read that 67% of Americans, listen to this, 67% of Americans, the number may be higher now, agree that there is no such thing as absolute truth. That scares the dickens out of me. 67% of Americans agree that there's no such thing as absolute truth. That means for them, people can make the truth anything they want it to be. And that fact alone is leading to incredibly scary consequences in our culture. Even more dismaying than that is the fact, get this, 52%, more than half of the people that claim to be born-again Christians think that truth is relative, meaning you can make truth to be anything that you want it to be. In contrast to that kind of thinking, Isaiah chapter 40, verses 7 to 8 declares this: the grass withers and the flowers fall because the breath of the Lord blows on them. Surely people are grass. The grass withers and the flowers fall, but the word of our God, he says, it stands forever. Contrary to popular opinion, there is absolute truth, and we find it in this book. And this is where I'm planting my flag. This is where I'm drawing the line. I suggest that we all do the same. You see, as Christians, God is calling you to step up to the plate and to know the truth, to walk in the truth, to defend the truth, and to promote the truth. Is it an easy calling? No, it's not. And there are times when it'll be risky, even costly, I think. But that, in fact, is the truth about the truth. Let me ask you to pray with me. Father, help us